And welcome here to Talk SCB, and welcome back to another video on the channel today. Earlier on we spoke about Luis Suarez and the incredible season that he has had this year, and in this video we are going to be talking about another influential figure in our season, that is the coach, the manager, the boss, that is Luis Enrique. And we're going to be talking about all the aspects which have brought together another league title for him, back-to-back wins since he became our coach last season, and what an incredible job he has done on so many different levels. And when I come and do video, guys, I don't really think of them a lot in advance. Most of them are done in spur of the moment, and basically what I always seem to do is react to something I've seen online, maybe on social media or in the press, in the Spanish UK media. I always seem to react to things like that, because when people do say things, a lot of the time it does get on my nerves. Especially the one phrase that I am absolutely sick and tired of hearing is, oh, I could have won the title with Barcelona, I could have won the treble with Barcelona with MSN, because that is simply ludicrous. Somebody sitting at home watching the TV is thinking now, oh, they've got great players, so it's easy to win with them, it's easy. No, it isn't. It's simply not easy to win with our players. We may have some of the best players in the world, but you've only got to look at Real Madrid and the money that they spend, the players that they have at their disposal, the squad that they've got. Why have they only won one league title in 8 years then? If it's so easy, if it's simply a case of getting the best players together and putting them on the pitch, why is it the case that they've only won one league title in 8 years? It's simply not as easy as everyone makes out. I actually heard a British pundit the other day on TV say that Roberto Martinez, who has just been sacked as Everton manager, could go and manage Barcelona successfully. That's what he said. A guy who has failed at Everton Football Club could go and manage Barcelona. And it's simply because a lot of people seem to have this crazy idea in their heads that all you need to do as Barcelona manager is go into that dressing room and say, go on then guys, go out on the field, pass the ball around, because that's all we do. We're just a team that passes the ball around. That's nothing more to it than that. Go out there and you'll win the title, you'll win the treble, it'll all be easy. Absolutely ludicrous. When you're at Barcelona, when you're at a club like Barca with the players you have at your disposal, of course you're going to find some things easier to do. It's going to be easier to score goals. It's going to be easier to get wins. But at the same time, every single club you're at, they have to match the expectations. For instance, when you're the manager of Barcelona, the expectation level is massively, massively more than if you're a club like Sunderland or Hull City or, any club like that. A club like that, a couple of wins a season against big teams, everybody loves it. Great season. If you have a tiny bit of a cup run, great season. At Barcelona, if you lose a single match, doesn't matter what game it is, there's scrutiny placed on your shoulders. You know that one single slip-up and your whole job could be on the line. So it's easy enough to say, oh, it's easy being Barcelona manager, but the level of expectation is simply incredible. And as you've got to go into that job, you've got to deal with that. You've got to have the mentality to deal with that sort of expectation. And that is one thing that Luis Enrique does incredibly well. He handles the media brilliantly. Because quite frankly, he hates them. And that is the way to deal with the Spanish press. Because no matter how nice you are to them, they're never going to be on your side. Even the Barcelona media, you think about what happened at the Anoeta a year or so ago when we absolutely imploded against Real Sociedad. Who were the first people on our backs, on the board's backs, on the players' backs? The Spanish press, the Barcelona media. They're never going to be on your side, so why bother dealing with them? That's why Luis Enrique banned them all from travelling with the players, because they're going to leak things. They're not our friends. They're simply trying to do a job, so why bother with them? And that's what he does. He goes into the press conferences, he'll give them information, but he's not going to be mates with them, he's not going to be laughing and joking, because why bother? They're not our friends, they're simply there to get their headlines, get their stories, get their leaks. And I think that's what he does really well, because you've got to have a manager that handles the media well and takes the pressure off the players. Those players, Gerard Piqué's another one, he handles the media exactly like you should. Give them something to go with, give them a headline, fine, but he's not mates with them, he doesn't care what they say, and he certainly responds well when they write rubbish. And I just think, as manager of Barcelona, you have so much responsibility on a number of different levels. And it's simply not about going in there and thinking, I've got great players, it's going to be a great team. You need to make a team. That is the bottom line here. We didn't want Luis Enrique to come in here, and it's ridiculous really to think that he could come into this club and everything would be fine. Because when he took over from Tata Martino had some of the best players that we've got now at his disposal. He did nothing with them. We won nothing. Out of the Champions League quarter-final, lost in the Copa del Rey final to Real Madrid, lost on the final day to Atletico Madrid, and even when Tata Martino was winning, there was still pressure on him. And that is the situation that we are living in. At Barcelona, not only failure is not accepted, but even when you win sometimes, there will be scrutiny on your shoulders. So it's easy enough saying, oh, I could go and be Barcelona manager. I guarantee you, go there for a game, manage that expectation, manage that pressure on your shoulders, you would be going home to your house crying every single evening. And I'm not even joking, because it's incredible the amount of exposure that our club has. Everybody around the world is watching, every paper is reporting. You've got to deal with that day in, day out. Go to training, see the media, see the players, go to the matches, go to the pre-match conference, go to the post-match conference. It's constantly on your mind. And that is why Pep Guardiola could only stay with us for 4 years. The intensity that you've got to put into this job, the amount of work that you've got to put into this job is incredible. And that's why I think Luis Enrique deserves so much more credit than he's getting. He's dealing with it. He's not showing any signs at all of weakness. He never does that in front of the press. I've never seen him look down. I've never seen him look angry. I've never seen him show any emotion at all. He keeps everything so reserved. And that is so important. And basically, what we wanted Luis Enrique to do when he came into this club was basically like come into this team and rejuvenate them. We didn't ask him to come into this team and completely rip it all apart and start his own philosophy. We've got a philosophy at this club that we've had for many, many years since Johan Cruyff. We didn't need somebody to tear that up and start all over again. We just needed somebody to come in here, amend a few things, improve a few things, and basically galvanise what was already a fantastic group of players. And that is what he's done. It's all about motivation. Getting these players who've won everything in their careers there is to win, keeping them motivated, keeping them hungry. And Luis Enrique, that is his biggest asset. He's a great motivator. And he has become a fantastic man management manager. And that is something that I didn't think I'd be saying a year or so ago. Because if you look at the Anoeta, where he left Messi on the bench, where he left Neymar on the bench, and he left Piqué on the bench, and that night we lost the game, and he walked out of that room and he must have thought, what am I doing? Because what he did was, he came from Celta Vigo to Barcelona and he managed the players in the same way. He was cold with them, he didn't speak with them, and he didn't speak particularly with Lionel Messi about key decisions. And you've got to realise that when you come into this club, you've got to act differently. You've got to treat these players differently. They're not going to be the same as Celta Vigo players. They're not going to have the same sort of ego. They're not going to be reacting the same on the pitch. And what I admire about Luis Enrique is that he adapted his management style and he adapted his personality. He's now a man who's very, very close with some of the players. You've heard Nolito come out this week saying that when Nolito was in the B team, Luis Enrique was very, very affectionate with him. I think Luis Enrique is very affectionate towards certainly some of the players. Rafinha is always the first to jump on him when there's a goal. And I think Luis Enrique now has become much more warmer with players. And I think very, very interesting was that when we saw Lionel Messi on the bench against Atletico Madrid at the Vicente Calderon at the start of the season, it was just a day after his new child had been born, so clearly he hadn't been getting a lot of sleep, he hadn't been getting a lot of rest, and he wasn't quite ready for this game. Now Luis Enrique and Messi together decided that they were not going to play that game, and we were going to go on the bench, and that is where Luis Enrique has come on leaps and bounds. He accepted that he would have to talk decisions with the players. The final decision always rests with him, but there's nothing wrong with talking with your players, understanding what the players feel, and then influencing your decision based on that. And that's where I feel Luis Enrique has adapted his management style, and that's fantastic. And I think that is what he's done. He's come in, he's developed the squad, he's kept them motivated, he's a very strong personality, which these players need, by the way. And that is another thing. When you come into a club like Barcelona, it takes a very, very big personality and a very, very big person to look Lionel Messi in the eye, to look Neymar in the eye, to look Suarez in the eye and say, you're not doing good enough. You need to know better, and you need to do better on the pitch. And it takes a strong guy to go in there and mess with those egos, but he does it. And I think the Real Betis game is the finest example of his motivation and of his character. He went into that dressing room at halftime with the score at 0-0, and he said this to those elite group of players. He said, you are going to lose La Liga if you don't start to wake up in this game. And he said, it's going to be all your own fault. He pointed the finger at all of those players. He directed it at all of those players. And what did they do? They responded. That shows that he's got respect of the dressing room. That shows that he's put his stamp on this squad. squad, and we now are La Liga winners thanks to these fantastic players and thanks to his brilliant man management and the fact that he can motivate this group and continue keeping them hungry. Let me just read out his league record as Barcelona manager. 76 games that he's spent in charge. He's got 59 wins, 8 draws, and just 9 losses. Now, if you put that into some perspective, imagine if we hadn't have had the dip that we did in sort of the end of the season that we have done. His record would have been second to none. He could end 2016 with 3 trophies, the Copa del Rey final to come. We'll then have the Spanish Super Cup as well. And it's just going to be crazy, really, if he finishes 2016 with 3 trophies. He will have got 8 trophies in his opening 2 seasons, which will be better than Pep Guardiola's record. Now, I'm not going to start comparing the 2 managers, because that really annoys me as well. That shouldn't happen. Pep Guardiola was a massive part of our history, was incredibly successful here, and that's fantastic. Pep's gone now, though. We've got Luis Enrique, and he is doing incredibly well in his own right, in his own way. We've seen some more long balls. You watched the goal yesterday, our second goal, Luis Suarez. That long diagonal ball to Dani Alves from Mascherano never would have happened a few years ago. Luis Enrique has made small changes to the squad. He's made small changes to the style. The defending of set pieces is so much better. And the attacking of our set pieces is much better too. We've scored more goals than set pieces. We often do custom set pieces. You've seen it recently where Mascherano's been at the near post flicking on the ball. We very nearly scored from it yesterday with Gerard Piqué. That's something that's done on the training ground. And a lot of credit as well has to go to Unzue, the assistant coach, Luis Enrique's right-hand man. Those two are insufferable on the bench. They absolutely together all the time, always in dialogue together on the bench. And both of them together have worked really hard on the fitness, the rotation, the constant pressure, the intensity, keeping it on these players and keeping them motivated and hungry. And we have got a fantastic team here set up to succeed for a number of years. And next season we will bounce stronger. I am absolutely certain of that. And what I want to say as well is Luis Enrique has done all this while contending with a transfer ban. At the start of his reign, we couldn't make any signings. We couldn't do anything. That got suspended. But then last summer he had to go through the whole summer without any reinforcements. Luis Enrique next season will have a deeper squad, he'll have more strength and depth, and I'm really excited to see what he's going to do with it, because I think with a big squad, with a lot of depth in it, Luis Enrique could run absolute carnage, and I think next season we've got a great chance of doing the treble again. So leave your thoughts down below, guys, on what you think Luis Enrique has brought to Barcelona. What are your expectations going into next season? And basically this video, guys, was just to say, Luis Enrique, for me, I did a video like this before we won the treble. He deserves more credit. He really, really does, because the job that he's come in and done, he took over from a squad under Tata Martino, which was depleted, which was devoid of confidence, and he has brought it back to its feet, and we are now roaring. We are a force, and that is down to Lucho and these fantastic group of players. So leave your thoughts down below, guys. Thanks, as always, for watching the video. I'll be very back soon. I'll see you very, very soon indeed. Until then, though, as always, Vasca El Barça.